What's up, everybody? My name is Kalen. I am the key keeper, and we are at Pure Keys Lake. Tonight, we have another serene moment, and the trickling rivers coming down of my personal Tiamat Drakensberg view. Everything that this day has been, the dragon that has been brought out of me, that I'm going to talk to you guys about. And just kind of like while um I've taken a step back to not just post as my thoughts come up, because I wanted to, as I'm getting comfortable, I am also, doing my screening process and watching my videos back, listening to like where I can improve. These things are always part of the process, obviously. And I just wanted to kind of share some of the critiques that I had for myself. And like I'm going to try and post a series of videos on audio clips that I just kind of like left laying around in my files, because I didn't know where I was going with any of it. I don't really know like what to title my things anymore. I don't know what to do for graphics in terms of AI generated art. I don't know how to use like AI chatbots in a way that I feel like it helps me be original. Like I just use it for my description boxes, right? And I try and have it like create a sync out of the words. And yeah, sometimes I just like say, okay, copy and paste. Like I don't even read it. Like I read something back and it literally referenced the Punarvasu video of Clay Nocti as a song. So, ugh, the little slips. Notwithstanding that my audio quality has been shit. And yeah, like just a lot of interruptions or distractions, my ADHD, all the above. So I guess the new moon in Virgo, it made me kind of like take a fresh eye and like be a pupil, like listening to myself, absorbing the information the way I teach it. I was like, okay, is it palatable? Um, what do I need to refine? Mars in Virgo, it's my sixth gene key, Mars unconscious conjunct my conscious north node. So there is a method to the madness, and yeah, it is partly this like throwing stuff against the wall, seeing what sticks process. It is a bit of a therapy process. It is a bit of a learning to open up, use words that have been shrouded in I almost want to say like a Voldemort energy, or yeah. Anyway, so this whole process, right? Watching Punarvasu video, getting just more refreshed on like everything that has been simmering in my mind, very Neptunian like, and the Saturn that now needs to come out of that formlessness like we saw in the cipher. you know, what my Pluto through its natal aspects and that ciphering is doing, like all my planets, right, where I have letters and planetary alphabet correspondences to planets and how I can scribe my names out of that cipher. Like every word that I use with that cipher in the background, it's like me trying to give you guys like these little games, these little mental crossword puzzles to like yeah, come up with your own connections, inform me about the connections you guys are making. I love the comments, so please like, comment and subscribe, and let's go into just the bulk of what Keykeeper's channel is supposed to be at Pure Keys Lake in that context, because I know everything is so co-opted about what is the tube, what is the black screen, what is a channel, what is a... just what is a fucking opinion, you know? So me trying to wear so many hats all the time, being so discombobulated by just feeling like I'm not one fucking person. Like, I am all these people, I am all these roles, I am all these characters, I am all these projections, I am all these reflections. I'm just cut all the other ways, sideways and faceted like a diamond of light that has no substance. And I'm just like, oh, what do I need to like... what do I need to like my astrologer said about the Pisces in the fourth house that I mentioned, finding a proper root and foundational definition for yourself. So when words were sufficient to tell me you are the actor, you are the quintessential actor, I still don't know like if I acted like it was enough or whether I knew it wasn't enough. Like, am I always going to be looking for more? Am I always going to attempt to refresh my creative self-expression? Am I never going to be able to build an edifice because Neptune is in the second house in Capricorn for me? Am I always going to like just blur the bull's eye for myself? You know, the Cancer magical Gemini cusp of the eye that I see forming within me. And without me, it's like my world became so animated by my spirit, my measure of the waters, my breath of life, whatever it is. I feel it so... it's like I want to rip off my skin so that like my light can just... and even like calling it that, I hate calling it that because it's without surety. It is without... it's like everything is able to be doubted because one word, like you add a different prefix or suffix, it's another word, then it's a homonym or a synonym or an antonym or a paronym or a... it just... oh, I love it though. I love it, guys. It's a lot. I love it. I love that it brings out some energy within me that gives me an it gives me this sense of I am not trying to be something. I'm just doing me. Like whenever I think of like how I need to like refresh something or punarvasu something or create like a new algorithm or a new formula or a new synesthesic blend of a symbol, or like overlaying things to like capture how my mind has these watercolor overlays of pictures that my light can x-ray through and see like you've painted this over it and you've painted that over it, and meanwhile you can still just like I remember when I think it's Terrence Howard who could recite pi to so many places, when he expressed how his mind works with numbers and shapes and colors and things like that. That was the first time that I found an articulation of my synesthesia, because it was the way I was like putting my fingers in my mind to like finger paint a 3 the way I remember somehow, just like my first 3, or you know what I mean? And and just different memories like that, and me working with it as like this plastic substance all the time, and yet seeing like this backdrop picture of what stars in the negative of all these essences are still kind of like being captured by like a memory of like Homo Solaris. And yeah, because I got to a point where I was just like, okay, there's so much information out there just like about what to think. Everybody has told everybody else just what to think. And I'm just like, who figured out organically how to do life, how to be a, um, we have this idea of like what people who don't live the modern westernized urban type of lifestyle, an industrial, first world country type of lifestyle, or we have notions of what are like country people or forest people or indigenous or aboriginal, or those are like offensive words anyway, but like as a South African, having so many languages here, so many cultures here, um, we just like have a much more flexible range of inoffensive words. Not to say that we don't have like one of the most constitutional, we will get you for discrimination by discriminating how you use the word. Did you have intent, fault, like mens rea, like whatever, whatever, whatever. But at the end of the day, like there is still work to be done just in terms of how we relate to each other, how we relate to different cultures that we have here. For example, we have tuck shops where um we have people own those commercial spaces in the context of being foreigners to our country. Like that's what people would use as a word. Sometimes they use more derogatory words, like they would say, um, like for any Nigerian or Congolese or Zimbabwean, or regardless of whether they know where you are from, or or whether you are Muslim or Christian or whatever, like they will just have this umbrella term of like nakas, or like there was a other term like najis, like all these very xenophobic and serpenty encoded type of words, which is, it's so interesting when I think of like everything that we have been discussing, right? Like how the clues were all around me, like it's like I always looked for Eden or Pandora's box or the pot of gold that was like somewhere, I don't know, in America. And then Credo Mutwa tells me like Egypt was in your country, you know? And then I'm like, so every country could get something out of like claiming a certain creation story, a certain original story, a certain lineage, a certain whatever. Even what we spoke about celestial bulls and countries like Europa and, you know, gods and territories and removing the guardians through black magic, like Sevan Boma said, opening these portals, schisms, constructing towns and stuff in these inverted pentagram magic geometries, like we see in Washington Square. Um, is it Washington Square? Am I thinking of Times Square? But like Washington D.C. The God, my knowledge is like failing me. I'm literally like just thinking about this, like hidden in plain sight, secrets in plain sight, sacred geometry in plain sight. A video like that, it was like hours long, guys. So comment down below if you know what I'm talking about, because that was so interesting for me, sacred geometry and all of that. But bringing it back to just like my Shravana listening star placements through wherever, you know, shift stuff, I don't care anymore. I'll give it to my Uranus at this point. Um, and go back and like watch some of my previous videos. If I do cross-reference it, for example, if you watch the Scorpio Moon, Gemini Sun, Sagittarius Rising video, that is my natal chart synthesis, where you will see all the different charts and Ayanamsha shifts with the human design, with the mastering the zodiac, with all the different nakshatras and stuff, you know, so that why I talk about Asterian astrology the way I talk about Asterian astrology kind of like makes sense. You know what I mean? It's all part of like I'm just trying to like do what that, like to the best of my ability. Like this channel is like a project of birthing what was revealed to me through that natal chart synthesis of what my synthesizing process should be. So I do advise that you guys check that out, because oftentimes I reference back to that and I'm just so disoriented by it all sometimes that it interrupts my flow, you know. But at the same time, like I'm so trying to be onto the new connection that I'm like, when I edit these things, the amounts of threads that I go, like I can't find a picture or a screenshot or a this or that for like every sentence. So like it's not even about that, like just like the Filmora app that I have. And I know there's probably a better app or whatever, but like this is what I have right now, right? So there's only a certain like amount of frames and pictures that I can add and so on. So that's nobody's problem, right? But it's part of my situation of uh if you listen to that natal chart synthesis, they will tell you like, like your Saturn in the fifth house, part of that calibrating process for your ego is, okay, that Saturn was opposite Chiron in Libra in the 11th house. So you've had these situations where like, because your Sun is in the 7th house and Jupiter is in the 3rd house, you've had this intellectualized ego expression of yourself because you have Leo in the 9th and Lilith there and whatever else. Look at the charts. And then I think to myself, like, I am building these layers of substance, and it might look very pixelated now and very fragmented now, but it's all going to get to where it needs to be, and I don't need to be constantly criticizing myself for not being on Clay Noctive's level or not producing content the way you have seen according to various formulas. And like there's literally a formula for like a faceless YouTube channel and how you can make a lot of money through Amazon and affiliate marketing and this and that, or make a video about like how to grow a tomato, or like I don't know, like I could probably like record the babbling brook here and like give a 10-hour video of like watching a babbling brook or whatever, and it would get a lot of views and it could probably monetize the channel faster, or get all these other things that to me eventually I want to have it part of the picture. I want YouTube to be something that I can grow through as a businessman, as a writer, as a presenter, as a teacher, as a therapist, as someone who is just learning to be deprogrammed and woke, whatever that is supposed to mean, whether I'm not supposed to fall for the new age or whether I'm supposed to run back to the Christian values like everybody does, your cat scared to the Bible. I still can't like unpunarvasu what has been refreshed about all these meanings and will continue to be as it unveils more and more about me. And so I'm just giving a big finger to just all these stories that I kind of told myself that kept me down, or that kept me the victim of the situation, or like I told the story in a way where I wasn't like the powerful one, like, no, you did this to me, you implanted these things, like you corrupted my purity, you infected me, like all this finicky cat yoni shit of my Ashleisha getting poisoned. I'm gonna post the Venus in Cancer thing so that you guys can understand that, because I've been holding back on that also. Only because I like saw my video on Venus and Cancer and stuff. It's like it's not getting the same type of traction as, for example, my like the things on archetypes or the different like planetary things that I know people search for, like Mercury retrograde or Scorpio moon, or I knew they were searching for Doja Cat and stuff, and I'm just like, okay, it's part of the narrative, it's part of the, I can yoke something out of like everything that, like when I opened my YouTube feed and this is what came up, and these are the themes that I am talking about, and coincidentally I had a, you know, raw rage segment situation of just like I was kind of like, I don't know, I feel like I was out for blood because God, I was angry. I was so angry at, I felt like I was the most present person, and yet it felt like I was always trying to run away from being here and now. It was like you said, I was aloof. I felt like the forced need to absent myself, to just like disperse into all these different philosophical articulations of all these fractals of just uranium, of what every little frame by frame castrated in time could mean for me and unfold for me. And I wanted to go so fast, learn so fast, break that Uranus into the third house, like you said, where my Jupiter was in Aquarius. And like that Uranus was still like conjunct Neptune by a wide orb, but uh not more than 10 degrees. And just the fact that in the Mastering the Zodiac or Sidereal, they are a Capricorn stallion. Uranus being between my Neptune and my Jupiter. In Mastering the Zodiac, the Neptune sits at the tail end of Sagittarius. That's why I represent like the horseshit illusions of my Mrigashira Mirage searching star Prometheus. And the Chiron key that unlocked, like lockpicked it all, like philologically Kalen Chiron. Chiron in the 11th house. How that centaur notion gave me the true idea of what Sagittarius was. And when I looked at the cipher with the serpent and the rainbow, like Sag Libra is one aspect of like the same, and Sag Aquarius is another aspect of the same. Like every fire air pair has a pairing, every water earth pair has a pairing. So the way the Taurus and the Cancer and the like the moon's domicile and the moon's exaltation all made sense to that summer solstice point as it related to just what my whole relationship to like the Homo Solaris, she is Isis, the forgotten sister, the unicorn, the virgin, Minosaurus with her cornucopia, like the golden phallus of Osiris, that whole thread, and the equal yet opposite of the galactic center, the Artemisia of it all, the Ma'at of it all, Tiamat of it all, the Virgo mermaid, the Ophiuchus centaur stag Chiron, the Midas golden touch, the Uranus castrato, the Lucius golden ass, the like all these flips of things, like my very Olympian order. This is all the beautiful principalities and archetypes of Greek philosophy, and meanwhile I could have just been in Plato's cave and the little pricks were staring at me all archontically, like siphoning my energy. God knows. So today I once more had like this prophetic realization of my knowing. So what had happened was, my uncle, the one that I spoke about being Blessing's friend, or who I met Blessings through, oh, I was still trying to just wrap up like everything even like relating to the Black Mermaid coming up on the feed when I was searching just for the transvestigation of everything, the siren, the Mariah Carey voice, the way that cipher cut everything else in half, the way Venus was conjuncted, like a retrograde Venus was conjunct Saturn, So that was giving me like a seminal blocker, Shukra Dhatu channeled into the voice of a castrato. I saw her limbs, like, just from her Vision of Love video, and I just contrasted it to like that moment where they said she got a gastric bypass after she had now been body shamed. Like a sleeves, gastric sleeves, like the mini gastric sleeves, whatever it was, a weight loss surgery. And yeah, just thinking of how her voice became more nasal, notwithstanding, like, for example, the rasp and stuff, that, you know, it could have been the nodules, it could have been just um extreme range singing that, you know, wasn't maintained because, like, the Svengali grip of Mr. Matola, you know, like, he literally said he wanted to do with her what Renee did with Celine. And yeah, it's just like, it's very like, just the idea of a trophy wife, like a trophy is like a hunting deer, Mirgashira, and it's otherwise Rohini symbol, serpent symbol, cut, right? And isn't she born in Huntington? Is it Huntington? Anyway, it's just giving me a ring. Don't quote me. Um, yeah, so I was mentioning the moon, Neptune, and the Mars, Neptune very heavily, right? But when it came to, like, I mean, now going to study the charts before I go to blessing and just my uncle and the whole prophetic insight that I had today, that was once again just like, I allowed myself to be questioned on it. Because right here where I'm standing right now, I literally, like, I cried as if everything already happened. So anyway, bringing it just back quickly to, like, my feed on the Transvestigation revealed the black mermaid that was causing divide on TikTok, right? Time and Saturn. The whole 9-6 of it all that I was questioning etherically between Jupiter and Saturn, and the whole, who's the daddy of the archons, who's the embryo, who's the prince, who's like that little um yeah, like, who's the nucleus and who is the body. I know there's a term that Santa Spinaci used, which was Jupiter Munata, or Juno Munata is his wife, through which is syncretized, and Claire Nocte also mentioned Tara as Jupiter's wife. So yeah, that's also where my Moana and Tafiti Takar notions came from. So I hope it was all kind of like clear, just in the idea of like this, okay, there's a transformation in the cosmic orgasm, and that Virgo Ophiuchus process is like in like a regenerative process to that generative process that has now been castrated by that kind of like sheet of matter, Homo Solaris. She is Isis, magic, witchcraft that, you know, we hear about in that part of the story that leads to the creation of the golden phallus and all of that. So how all of that brought in Poseidon, big dick energy, donkey dick energy, donkey deities, golden asses, eunuchs, transsexuals, castratos, and what I said about like Shukra and Asuras and nagas and serpent beings in magnetism or magnetism, uh, yin, Mercury, Hasta, Sol, the Asteria Nakshatra, Persephone, um, so yeah, there was just like a whole lot of things that I was trying to syncretize, right? And like thinking of the words that we in relation to the archetype Mariah Carey. It's glitter, it's rainbows, it's charm bracelet, it's butterflies, emancipation, Mimi, elusive chanteuse, me, I am Mariah, angels cry, memoirs of an imperfect angel, knowing that we saw the A and angel in alchemy relates to a certain ox head of androgyny through the fact that the A relates to, I think it's the sense of taste, if I'm not mistaken. And no, A relates to the element of A. That's interesting. What was I thinking of? Yeah, they say the K, the astrological sign is Taurus, the symbol is the palm of the hand, light, and the calf. The calf also makes me think of the twin Yemo and Ymir, like the cow that licked the frost. The numerological value is 11, which breaks down to 2. It stands for key, kingdom, kindness, and known. Okay, so that's one aspect of what was read. In spirituality, K also represents the Kundalini serpents rising from the base of our spine. These two coiled serpents are also the dual nature within our being, 1 plus 1 equals 2, masculine and feminine principle. The I represents the spiritual sense of taste, and the symbol is the fishing hook, the fire. Remember what I said about the Trishti gaze of Venus as the eye of Ra? Remember in like Eternals, they gave the very emphasized of Tina, not Athena. Interesting. Jet, spinal column, spiritual meaning I am, intuition, initiation, insight, intelligence, numerological value 9, stands for ideas, income, interest, and intensification. The Hmm. Yeah, they say the A, this is a different one, yeah. The element is A, and it says astrological sign Taurus, symbol oxide, physical reproduction, spiritual meaning, one God, breath of life, spirit, the first, unity, the capstone, numerological value 1, stands for Aleph, Alif, atom, alpha, awareness, alchemy, astrology, angel, etc. So, yeah, just as an A element, how dispersed those meanings were and how it kind of like was able to kind of like feed into each other in like these different ways. Like the one, like the K is Taurus, and the I, like they don't say which sign the I is, which is interesting because on that cipher the I is like form as opposed to the 0 point of formless, and it's on the Gemini Cancer cusp and the cusp of the summer solstice, where it's like there's always this competing of like, is it Jupiter that's supposed to exalt there as the brightest, or like whatever latest hermetic embryo pop out is like you like star of the show, you know? The I am of the age, the ion, the aeon. Like it's all just very, yeah. I stands for ideas, income, interest, intensification. The spiritual sense is taste. Like I related that just to like the whole fact that like Mariah, uh, Carrie, the Ori, like just like does she have that mermaid energy? Does she have that like sacred Venus in the 12th Revati retrograde, but now there's a Saturn conjunct it, like having this like blocker to it, creating like a castrato, you know, and in the chart that says 1970, which is to me almost like a let's take 1 year off her age so that nobody like finds her real pictures or whatever it may be thought. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Or like you will never find like a birth certificate of it and you will only have their word for it. I don't know, guys. Like, that's the point of like, now there's like two charts, right? One chart says she had Mars conjunct Saturn. That could be a castration of a generative organ. The other chart says she has Venus conjunct Saturn. That could be the like castration of like the Shukra, the seminal, the way those secondary characteristics would have developed. You know, the way your Shukra dhatus can be built into bodily tissues that make you male. And we can see it, guys. Like she is very, like she has a muscular stallion. Aphrodite was the most beautiful, and the foam came together on that Neptune moon. You know what I'm saying? Look at the cipher, guys. Look at where her name plots. Look at where her planets plot. Look at where the Uranus is in the 11th house. And look at like, just like, yeah, you guys tell me, like, play around with it. I'm trying to create these like games, these different types of interplays of information. I am very childlike about it. And yeah, I'm just like, I'm owning it, and it's part of the process of me recognizing who I am, what my chart is, what my knowing is, what my craving to be makes me feel most alive and happy to animate this space within myself to take onus of that agency, right? And yeah, like I am not like, to me it's not about anymore like proving like I know all these things, or all this connection exists, or I thought of something that I haven't heard somewhere before, because it's like it's so unoriginal to like have that type of brand for yourself. Like we know nobody comes up with their own shit. Everybody is like cripping from somebody else and learn from a master and then try to surpass the master secretly. Like, just fucking admit it. Okay, cool. But what are you adding to master yourself? And are you actually like mastering what you need to master out of this information? Because if tomorrow you come into a debate with somebody and you Chiron in the 11th house again against their argument because you feel like you've spoken like this, and because everybody had normal speak and you had uranium speak, or mermaid speak, or chimeric speak, or split speak, or rosy speak. Guys, I'm creating space for myself now. I'm creating avenues and communities and reflection boards and invitations for myself now. I'm not expecting it from the world. I'm expecting it from those who care to be here for what I have to offer. Because that's what Jupiter has to learn in Punarvasu. It's to share the abundance of like none of this gets lost for me if I feel like I just give it away, right? I'm not sitting here thinking like, oh, I need to like not give this away, I need to keep that for my book. Guys, I'm just here learning with everybody, not knowing what I know to be true without my ability to feel into it. So I need my process, all my functional lights to feel into it, and then I can have it something animated and crystallized. And I can't be ashamed of like pulling a little satin out of the formlessness to tell you guys, well, this is what's in my heart, because I'm afraid it's going to be used to castrate me the way my dad would just use everything to try and castrate my manhood. And yeah, like it's like he was trying to turn me into a castrato, like metaphorically, of course. But yeah, just always singing to his tune, as high as he wanted to go, as low as he wanted to go, I needed to keep up. And he wanted to be the like Swenkali directed to that musical process of serenading himself through siphoning my words of praise for him by always trying to like twink him. Like he's just so, ugh, my word. I love the bastard. He gave me myself. So I can only love myself in, like, I can't love myself for for hating him. Like none of that makes me feel good. Do I hate him and recognize I have the emotional capacity for it? Yes. Do I love him because I've learned to grow beyond hate? Yes. And now it's just of like, well, how do you build a world when you've had like unfulfilled expectations all your life. So like you just like don't know what to trust. You've never been like I have Venus in Cancer towards my harmony. I don't like. Oh, I'm not the person. Like how they say Venus is like the way you try to get something done the easiest. So I just like invalidate the whole process with like the nurture that I felt it needed, right? And and that's what allowed me to like have the shell against my soft inner gooey sensitivities. Like everything that's my spunk now is because he made me cry uncontrollably, or he made me feel like my skin is transparent, or like you could see my blood running through my ears or rushing up my cheeks or shit like that. Like his snake eyes would Medusa me. Like he has this yellow toned glint to his brown eyes. Um, and yeah, I was very stunned by him. I would get so magnetized by him whenever he did praise me. And I see our little UFO drone situation again. Finally, I told him that I captured evidence, and he just like dismissed it. And he tended to do things like that a lot just because that's what he wanted to do. I don't know anymore. I'm done like giving him like this. It's like I'm trying to give him a dignity in the story by filling in gaps in his character. Like, no, he was acting from this place. He was trying to teach me this. Oh, because he didn't have this from his father, that's why he couldn't give me that. And this. Meanwhile, I'm just like, no, they have choices. I have choices. And I need to get ready to just face off with my God spark when the potential of what my choice is revealed to me. So because I have all this knowledge, I have so many choices that I can make. And it makes decision making incredibly fucking hard. Like if anybody knows a Gemini, this astral weighing out of opposites, it's so fucking hard because like we can emotionally suspend our judgment to the point where we are aloof to our own interest, whereas an earth sign literally like feels into their gut and be like, yay or nay for me. I can see it, taste it, sense it, like if it's tangible, if it's real, like, and to me, I'm just like, I will get miraged by your story, and you can tell me this, and you can tell me that, and I would hold all the space for you, listening to you, and I would never see it coming if you were just very good at acting, or like as a child, like going through people at school and let's be friends, best friends, people. And you end up just like feeling so betrayed. But then I looked at myself and I was like, you betrayed them first because you felt wrong about them. You felt uncomfortable or uneasy or just like disarrayed to be in their space, or like you couldn't add anything of value there, or like you gift wouldn't be seen or whatever it was, and yet you still wanted the vanity of looking like someone who belongs and not like you're wandering emptily, like no friends on your side in the school hallways. No, I'm rather just looking so on my way somewhere. Like, oh, why did I do that stuff to myself, right? like so aloof, so I wouldn't go up to a group and just like smile and like start talking and be like, "Hi, I'm Kaylin," because I felt like I would scare everybody. I would disrupt the homeostasis that they had going on. So I just like I felt like I didn't deserve to like I knew I was a rose, but I knew I had the thorns. So yeah, lots of Punarvasu appreciation for myself coming through the beast of what is now beautiful, the beastliness of my story, the characters that I saw, the stinking donkey skins that I wore to be an ass, to run my mouth like Donkey from Shrek. And then I ate some rotten berries. you know? And where did that leave me? Outside. Okay, I guess outside is cool. And then back to Mariah Carey. You'll always be somewhere on the outside. Early on your face, the realization you don't have a space where you fit in, and recognize you were born to exist, standing alone. You gotta just believe it's good enough to be what you really are, but in your heart, uncertainty forever lies. Yeah, guys, it's your